So I refreshed my YouTube page earlier, and a video from Hell Hades popped up with Wait Shadow Legends in the thumbnail. I thought that was interesting. And the name of the video is We All Need to Wait Even More Now. Now, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is going to be about. So I'm curious. It's also interesting because weirdly enough, I haven't had a Hell Hades video pop up in my feed in a while. So it'll be interesting to check in on him in general and see what's up. But I am very curious what it is that's happened that means we're going to have to wait even more than we already have to wait in this game. So let's get to it. Before we get into it, though, we got to hear a word from today's sponsor, Omni Heroes. Thank you to Omni Heroes for sponsoring today's video. Omni Heroes is a fantasy casual strategy RPG that has received recommendations from both Google Play and the Apple App Store. Your goal in this game is to rescue the captive Valkyries from demons and fight back together against the evil threatening the world by summoning legendary heroes, unlocking synergies, and matching hundreds of possible team comps at will. While the game has a ton of depth and exploration for the grinders out there, it also has some more relaxed elements for the more casual gamers. With auto battles and one-tap upgrades, not to mention the AFK farming even after you've closed the game, you don't have to worry too much about being left behind. The graphics in the game are pretty killer, and with over 100 legendary heroes to collect, you're sure to find something you like. There's gonna be something you like. I'm partial to the mystic mage Bastet, who was blessed with amazing power by the cat god after she healed his wounded son. Yeah, you heard me. I said the cat god. You got a problem with it? Use my link now to download Omni Heroes and claim your free 777 free pulls. That's a lot. And secure a minimum of 5 legendary heroes today. Not only that, but to celebrate 1 million pre-registrations, everyone is guaranteed to obtain the extraordinary legendary hero Dorabella. So click that link. Click the link and download the game today. Have fun.
Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I just wanted to do a video about the events that are running right now, the glowing portal, and actually try and look at things from a raid perspective, but also try and give you some advice for the future, because although
that sounds like a dangerous rabbit hole to go down, trying to look at things from raid perspective. I'm assuming he means from Plarium's perspective. That's a wicked rabbit hole.
Damning on primal shards and everything that's going on there. They are unlocking some pretty interesting things. Okay, so we're going to look at it from a different perspective today. One thing which I stand by is this type of deal is horrendous. Like the price point per shard at the moment is kind of disgusting. So I stand by all of that stuff. But I am interested to see this from Plarium's point of view. So let's take a look firstly. We've got a glowing red portal for the first time. Means that we've got a boosted summons on primal shards. A 2 times chance. This is a bit misleading, everyone. This is misleading because it's not a 2 times chance on the one type of champion a lot of people are going to want, which is the mythical. And right now we've got
I like that even in the odds thing, they have the 0.5 highlighted like it's included in what's going on, even though it's the same number when it's not highlighted. That's clever.
I'd say 2 of them are pretty damn crazy. The other 3 are all good.
I want that one. Yeah, that's my favorite by far. That's the one I want. Don't know how good any of them are. Don't even remember necessarily what they all do, but that's my favorite by far. That's the one I want. So we'll see if that ever happens.
One in the bunch. They're a bit harder to use because you have to think a bit more about how to use their kits and stuff, but ultimately it's like having 2 legendaries in one, and you're choosing which of those legendaries you want to play with in its simplest form. And then in its more complex form, it's like actually in certain elements of a fight, I can flip into something else and do something kind of cool, which is, I love the concept of it, right? I really do. Yeah. I think the concept of the mythical champions is very cool. And actually they bought them out in a way at the moment that they're not super OP. I would question if some of them are strong enough, actually.
Yeah, in that regard, Borderline nailed it. Conceptually, the way that they fit into the game, all of that stuff on that side of it, they kind of nailed, honestly. They're really cool looking. It's a cool concept. It was a logical next step. All that stuff makes sense. It's all the other stuff around it, which tends to be the case. A lot of what we get in the game should be really cool. Sounds really cool. But it gets plariumed.
But
So
we know more are going to be coming down the line, right? This is going to be their new big push, probably for all of next year. Whereas on the monthly updates, we are used to seeing an extra.
wonder how long it's going to be before we get the guaranteed mythical shard. I'm surprised. I'm surprised we got mythical stuff before we got a guaranteed legendary shard, because that's an easy $100 a pop. Although Plarium seems to value them at like 220 bucks, and I think there's some rules about like you can't have a pack that's more than $100 or something. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like I might have heard that, but I know in other games when they do the guaranteed legendary or nat 5 or whatever it is, the pack tends to be $100 unless it's some sort of really special event and the thing's been out for a while. So maybe that's why they haven't done it yet, because they'd be losing so much money by only charging $100 for a legendary, when right now they're, I guess, according to Plarium, worth more.
2, 3, 4, 5 legendaries come in, probably 2 of them at least being voids. I think we're now going to see 2 or 3 mythicals come in, and then perhaps 1 void legendary, 1 normal legendary. I think that's probably going to be the avenue, because the legendary pool of champions is just so big, and they needed to do something to mix it up. So this is a complete faux pas from Raid, not doubling the mythical chance. Like, it's
why?
weird.
Yeah, why?
It's weird to me. But
I would love to hear why. Not just go ahead and make it 1%. You know what I mean? I would love to know why.
You can see you get a 2% chance of a legendary, 32% chance of an epic, and obviously with weight Shadow Legends being just a general thing, this is now the best time to pull mythical shard, primal shards, right? Because you've now got a very good chance of getting an epic, and you've got a reasonable chance of getting a legendary for a shard like this.
Yeah, but the thing is, like with a sacred, you're guaranteed an epic at minimum. And this is supposed to be the next step up in shards. It's supposed to be the better shard, but it's not. Like look at the rates even during the 2x compared to a sacred shard. It's not even close. Like, it's so silly. This part of the red shard is so silly. If you couldn't pull a rare from them, they could be just as rare as they are, and it would make a lot more sense. Because then it's basically a sacred with a small chance to give you the new crazy champ. But because of this, the whole fucking thing is a flop. Literally remove the chance to pull rares from him and you're good. I don't know what conversation led to them thinking that was the move. But man, that's so stupid. That's so, like, imagine that. Imagine a new version of a sacred, but you might pull an uncommon from it. Like, get out of here, dude.
Okay, so all of that stuff, we've gone into Weight Shadow Legends, and I don't have any. I'm not going to buy any of these, but if I did have any, today would be the day that I would pull them. There's a couple of other interesting things that
I don't know.
Saf pointed out to me when we were just chatting earlier today. They've started to add primal shards in places where they're fairly accessible. Yeah, so 7,500 points is a lot for dungeon divers, but people that play the game a lot and are not just kind of like going through the motions probably will pick this up. So these are falling now in events and stuff where they're collectible. They're available to be picked up. And also with the introduction,
my hope is that even though they're starting to trickle this stuff into the end of these events, where like they're gettable but very difficult to get, I hope that there's so little engagement with that they're forced to put them down lower. You know what I mean? I hope so few people are buying these shards. I hope so few people are going for them in the events. I hope that it feels like such a flop for them. Like so aggressively. I want them to feel so deflated about how much of a failure this feels like. Because that's really what they need here. And if they feel that, they'll be forced to either adjust the way the shards work, adjust the pricing, adjust where they are in events, adjust the accessibility all around. Like, they need to feel how bad this is, or nothing's going to change. If enough people are just like, well, it is the way it is. I'm gonna have to spend this money and get this shard, or I'm gonna have to grind all these events and get these shards because it's the only way to get them. If too many people are doing that, it's going to look like a win in their analytics, and it's not going to get better. And it's just objectively bad. It's not in a good place right
Now,
now.
mythical champions, we're starting to see some of the what used to be very difficult things to get, like legendary steel tomes, are starting to drop down in the point scoring elements of stuff like summon rushes, because they got to put the new super premium currency at the far end with these mythical tomes. So, the Krakens will still pop all of their shards and get themselves some nice juicy new champions, and they'll get their mythical steel tomes for these events. But for the more regular players, we should start to see like legendary steel tones just becoming a little bit more accessible for players.
I didn't
which is quite
really
interesting.
clock
One
that
of
this
the
morning.
other
I saw
things
that,
which
but I was so focused on just these being there that I didn't realize that everything else had shifted down, which is nice. It's nice they didn't just remove them and keep the shitty rewards where the shitty rewards have been. So I guess that's nice. Also, I didn't come down and clock this either this morning in the free to succeed, but the fact that these are worth less than half of a sacred is crazy. What do you mean? I'm assuming he's about to talk about that.
which I wanted to touch on here. And again, I was having a little debate with Saf on this one earlier, because this is what I mean about where do raids see a primal shard. We've seen where they see it in terms of price point, yeah? Pretty much £8, $8 to $10, pounds, whatever you're going for. An ancient shard, I don't buy unless they're basically £1. Yeah, that's pretty much where I see it at. So, and interestingly, within the point scoring, it's a straight 10 times from ancient to primal. So, it kind of like correlates, I guess, to the fact that they see it as 10 times more valuable than an ancient shard, even though in reality it's very similar to an ancient shard.
Yeah,
that's the fact.
Yeah, in quality, it's this close to being an ancient shard. In scarcity, it blows sacred shards away. It's so incredibly scarce right now. That's very interesting. It's like they want the best of both worlds here.
Fact, it's very similar to an ancient shard, but they see it as 10 times more valuable because of that 0.5% chance of picking up a mythical. When I first saw primal shards before I saw a price point, I thought it was going to be slightly more valued than a void shard. To think a void shard at 120 points here, I expected to see and a price point of void shards at say 250. I expected to see a primal shard at about £3, and I would have thought the point scoring was around 150 points. So it's just interesting where they kind of like pitch it, and I think they've got it wrong. This is the main point. I think they've got the kind of pitch of where these are in a wrong spot right now for their game. So one thing I do want to bring everyone back to is, if you are playing Wait Shadow Legends and kind of like holding resources, which is generally the way you play this game most efficiently. It's not always the most fun. And unfortunately, Raid are pushing us further and further into this track. It's like, Wait Shadow Legends, Clan v Clan's coming. That's when we use our books. Wait Shadow Legends, don't use a shard until it's a fusion or it's a summon event or whatever. It's just like, it actually drives, for me, a pretty poor, fun engagement type of level of playing the game, for me.
I've never seen a developer that pushes so hard to get you to not play their game. I've never seen anything like it. Not like make you uninstall and quit. Like they want you here. They just don't want you doing anything. It's like they just want you sitting in the game waiting on the next thing, which is crazy. It's crazy that that's the way they approach it, and it's crazy that it's worked for them. It's such a strange way to behave.
But what's interesting here is if we are playing Wait Shadow Legends and you start to get champions on a 10 times that you really want, let's say I did not have Theodore and I had saved my primal shards, well, this becomes one of the best times to pull for a particular legendary. Same sort of thing for epics, really. If we
Why better than a sacred? Maybe he's just talking specifically about primal shards.
Trying to get a Fane, for example. Well, when you've got a 32% chance of getting an epic and then you've got a 10 times on that epic running at the same time, suddenly that's a really high chance of getting the epic you want. Obviously, if they were in the mix here. So for example, if they put a neck.
Yeah, if they hadn't diluted the pool so heavily, there's so many champs in the game that 10x basically isn't doing anything unless it's voids. 10x still has a bit of an impact on voids, but I think the rest of the champs in the game, it might as well not be happening. You know what I mean? There might as well not be a 10x. I think. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I don't know.
Mothar in amongst the 10 times and I had primal shards, that's exactly when I would use them. Yeah. And similarly, if there was another copy of Newt available, Newt the Legend, that is again where I would use my primal shards. So there's definitely, I guess we need to adapt our mindset a bit if we want to, as if you want to play it in this type of way. But that's certainly what I'm going to be doing now, saving any primal shard I get, holding on to them, not really focused on the mythical element, but focused on when they drop a good 10 times, is it going to be on a champion that I want? I'm also interested to see how.
That's interesting. I think as far as primal shards are concerned, I think what probably is the correct thing to do is to hang on to them like he's saying, but to just hang on to them indefinitely. Like kind of pretend they don't exist once you get them, because eventually they are going to start upping this. Eventually there will be 2x mythical that is actually 2x mythical. I have to assume they're going to follow the same trend that they have followed with all the other shards, where there's going to be actual 2x's, probably 10x's, maybe sometime way down the line a guaranteed. I have to assume all of those things are coming. So I think what probably is the correct thing to do is to hang on to them until they get to that point. Because as tempting as it could be, and as fun as it is to summon, you're going to pull rares. 99% of you are going to pull rares or a few epics or whatever, but you're not going to get that mythical champion, and it's really tough. I have, in my Discord, every few days, someone's like, wow, just popped a random primal shard and got this mythical champ. It happens, and it can't happen unless you pull the lever, sure, but for most of us, it's not going to happen, and it's going to just be a wasted opportunity, whereas they will eventually start to follow the same trends. They said there wasn't going to be 2x for these shards, and within a week, they were like, all right, there's going to be a 2x for these shards. So it's going to come quick, and they will eventually start playing around with this number here and doing other things. So I think the right thing to do, if you, like he's saying, you want to engage with Wait Shadow Legends and play the game super efficiently and try to get the most out of the things in the game, it's to get these shards and just not use them. I would even go as far as to say just skip the 10x, skip all that shit, and wait until there's something specifically going on that is related to mythical champions and your odds of obtaining one are higher than normal, and then consider using them. So, I mean, that could be a year, you know what I mean? But I think now I'm not doing that. So far on my free to play, as I've been getting them, I've just been popping them because I'm not really willing, at least at this stage, to sit and wait around on everything to happen in this game. I'm just going to play the game, and if I feel like popping a shard, I'm going to pop it. But if you're talking about the right thing to do and you want to be the most efficient and potentially get the most out of them, that's my thoughts on it. Just get them and then pretend like they don't exist until Plarium starts doing more interesting stuff with them, which again is probably going to take a while, but welcome to Wait Shadow Legends, you know what I mean?
Frequently, these 2 times primal shards pop up because the 10 times events run every other week. It's possible, and I wouldn't put it past Raid to do this, to have 2 times primal shards running every other week. That's possible. I would not be surprised at all if that's the way it goes down. So look,
because they're going to want you to use them. They don't want you to pile them up, because when they do start rolling out the actual 2x and the 10x and the guaranteed and whatever else is they're going to do, they're going to want you to not have them, because they're going to want you to buy them, because that's the way they've operated for as long as we've all been playing the game. So they're going to try to tempt you regularly, and they're going to make the bait a little bit more enticing every time. You know what I mean? they're going to up that percentage a little bit, and they're going to do a little bit more to start making it more enticing. But if you just hang on to them, eventually it's going to pay off. You know what I mean? But again, that's not that fun. So I'm not personally going to be doing that, but
Just some
do
thoughts
whatever
from
you
me.
got to
Let me know
do.
your thoughts down below. As I say, I'm still totally against the price point, all that sort of stuff. I'm not backtracking and I'm not shilling or whatever. It's just giving you a different kind of perspective on one, how Raid perceive these shards, but also perhaps how we should start to adapt the way we're using them at the moment to get the best out of them. So there you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. Have a good day. I'll see you later.
I like his the like editing stuff he's got going on and stuff in the background while he's talking. That's pretty slick. The editor's putting in some work, dude. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. It's interesting that multiple creators are kind of coming up with different ways to engage with these shards because it's so bad, because it's so poorly implemented, because the price point's so bad, because Plarium wants to treat them, like I said, they kind of want it both ways. They want them to be super scarce and valuable, and but they don't really want to give you the value of them in the summon rush, which it's just it's wild. So it's kind of a shame that again so many of us are having to like figure out ways to make this not be so bad. When it's just a shard. It's not complicated. It's not it's not a complicated thing to implement. Like it shouldn't have rares in it. Then it could be as rare as you want it to be. It could be as expensive as you want it to be, because now it's basically a sacred with that extra small chance of something beyond a legendary. And that's easy and that's obvious. And that's how they're treating it. They're treating it like there's not an 82.5% chance to pull a rare from every one of them. So I guess we just got to wait it out. Not only now is it it's just another element of Wait Shadow Legends. Right now we got to wait on them to get to a point where they at least are willing to acknowledge they understand. None of this is a surprise to them. They know what they're doing. But maybe eventually enough people will not engage with this in the way that they'd hoped, that they'll have to acknowledge that it's bad and make some adjustments. So now that's a new, level of what we're waiting for. So anyway, that's it. Pretty interesting thoughts from Hades here. I'll link his original video down below. And I guess let me know what you guys think about it. What are you going to be doing with your primal shards? Are you popping them as you get them? Are you saving them for 10x's like he said? Are you saving them for something else? Are you buying them? How are you engaging with the system and how do you feel about it? I'm kind of curious about that. So let me know. I'm going to get out of here. Yeah, appreciate y'all. Later.